Hello.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm alright.
Ah, great.
Yeah, just had pizza, so...
Oh, lovely stuff.
Ah, lovely chocolate. What are we doing today?
What we are doing today is we are talking about our top 10 favourite films.
We are plus extra, because we couldn't pick actually 10, but we've got 10, plus more. Here are my honourable mentions below it.
Bloody hell.
Oh, you have 4 honourable mentions. I have like 15 honourable mentions as well as the top 10. Welcome to the Zea Tea Podcast, by the way. We're talking about our favourite movies. In a sort of order, we're going to go through the top 10 first, and then after we've reached our number ones, we'll work backwards and talk about the millennia of honourable mentions. You better think of more honourable mentions afterwards, otherwise this is going to be very loaded with just films I love. Anyway, rock, paper, scissors as to who gets to talk about their 10th favourite first?
On scissors or on shoot?
On shoot.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot! You go first.
Hey! Also, is this in shot? What's this?
Oh,
It's a cool thing.
could you show him a piece of butter? He's taken me to a place today where...
God below. Yeah. Doctor Who figures. We got a lot of Doctor Who figures today.
There's a Cyberman somewhere around here today.
A little bit of context before we get into the podcast itself. He's visiting me. He's not just appeared out of the blue. And we spent the day shopping and spending money frivolously. Anyway, at my number 10 spot is The Dark Knight.
Oh, good film, that
It's
one.
a really good film. What I want to say is The Dark Knight is the single most watched film ever for me. Partially not out of choice though, because I've had to do, in my time with education, I've had to do 3 essays on it. One on the hero's journey, one on the opening scene, and I think the third one was how to balance a film with multiple villains. So I know the film like the back of my hand, whether I want to or not, basically. And yeah, what do you think of it?
I love The Dark Knight because by then it's the second in the trilogy, so there's not a lot of backstory needed. I feel like they've done well with characters like Harvey Dent, and absolutely, hands down, my favourite Joker of all time. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix does really good in his film, but he, for me, I love that. Oh, Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
Don't forget Jack Nicholson. Don't sleep on that, alright?
No, yeah. But I love Heath's just pure insanity, but his has method as well, where he's not just going all out for the sake of being all out. He'll tip it slightly and let other people panic and tip it over. I love that.
Yeah.
I love how he's the one that coaxes as well, that slight push for Harvey Dent to then embrace Two-Face.
Yeah.
I like the twist at the end as well, where, you know, even though he's beat the Joker and he's saved Gordon's family from Two-Face.
But the final showdown is against Harvey. It's not against the Joker, which is really cool. Yeah, the film is great. There's lots of like behind the scenes stuff I know about it, like how the hospital explosion was improv because
love that. Just
because it wasn't working, so he just clicked it and suddenly it did. There's just so many little tidbits that I know about the film. It's just like I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah, I have to say though, for all the Dark Knight films, I mean, they've all got detail, but then there are scenes that of course have a lot more action and a lot more thrill to them, and then because of course you got to get to those thrill parts, the trilogy is filled with those kind of scenes where you just have to get through them to understand, and you can't skip them. If you were to watch it first time, you can't skip them because then you wouldn't quite have the context. But you definitely have that kind of spread between really exciting scenes and then just kind of walk through. My mum will always hate The Dark Knight for the one scene with the pencil. Just, I want to make this pencil.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so good. So good. Ta-da! It's gone! So good. Yeah. Want to know how I got these? It's got so many like memes. It's in pop culture basically. It's made a splash basically, that film.
If you were to see if you typed in a picture of Joker, Heath's impression would always be there. Yeah,
I feel like Heath Ledger left a splash as well, because like you see maniacal villains play like the same role if they're not inspired enough to have their own spin on it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the case. You do see a lot of Heath Ledger Joker wannabes in media in general. the biggest example, not to rag on DC because it's literally just being a dead horse at this point, but the Lex Luthor they had in that one film.
Oh, you mean Batman vs Superman?
Yeah, where instead of Lex Luthor being Lex Luthor, he's just a Joker wannabe.
He's quippy and he's not quite that stern, sophisticated, mental-driven kind of guy. He's just that kind of quirky stuff.
Yeah.
A menagerie of weird and obnoxious noises.
Yeah. So, I mean, it shows how much of an influence this film had and the cast had on it. Christian Bale's good. It's all good. But yeah.
Gary Oldman.
Oh, Gary Oldman. I fucking
Gordon.
love Gary Oldman so much.
But how can we skip past Alfred?
Michael Caine.
Oh,
he met a blow and bade doors off.
That maybe you should consider retiring.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
I was tempted to replace this film with a different Batman film in my 10th spot. Matt Reeves' Batman. But it's too recent for me to say. It is in my honourable mentions, but I'll mention it now. The Batman's great. The Riddler's great. Rob Patterson's great. It's all great. Anyway, that's Dark Knight, and also a bit of the Batman on the side. What's your number 10?
I'm not sure actually if you've heard this film before. It's a little comedy film from 2004.
Yes.
It's one that I kind of watched before getting into the Cornetto trilogy.
Okay.
It's called Run Fat Boy Run. It
I've seen it. Yeah, I love that film. It's quite good.
For those of you who probably don't know, Simon Pegg starts the film off. He's about to get married to this girl who he's kind of always been in love with. But then he runs up the altar, he panics, he doesn't want to get married, he's about to have a heart attack and you just see him leg it.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, he's kind of not quite gotten over the fact that he's still in love with her, but he's a loser really, because he gives up at everything at the first sign of
trouble.
Of difficulty, trouble, difficulty and all that kind of stuff. But then he's kicked into gear when his ex-fiancée is now starting to date someone else. And this kind of motivates him as well to one him up, and of course he doesn't. Underdog, pot belly, that kind of stuff. But then this guy Whit, who the new boyfriend as such, he runs a marathon. And
is that the guy who plays David in Shaun of the Dead, or is that?
Yes,
because he's
not the boyfriend. He's the cousin.
Oh, he's in it, but he's not the
he's Simon's character.
Because there's some
friend.
crossover between the Cornetto films and Run Fat Boy Run. So,
but no, that film for me is like. It's pleasant.
It's an easy watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like those sort of films are an easy watch. One that isn't on this list, but I quite like, is Absolutely Everything or Anything.
Oh, when he does the flick of his hand.
It feels like another Run Fat Boy Run, where it's like underrated. It's Simon Pegg, also Robert Williams.
Yes.
And it's his final performance before he died, playing the talking dog. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know. And Monty Python's in this film as well, playing the aliens. Remember that?
Well, to be fair, I've not seen the full thing.
Yeah, it's really jokes. When it first premiered, I saw it in the cinema, and me and my parents were the only ones there in the cinema watching it, which is really sad. It bombed big time, but I like it. It's underrated. Anyway, but Run Fat Boy Run feels like that sort of.
Yeah, there's a lot of brilliant one-liners. Mr. Gostashtarak is one of my favourite film characters. He's Odelayo. Dennis, who's Simon's character, he has to live under Mr. Gostashtarak's house. He keeps forgetting his keys, so he has to ring on his doorbell, and the first thing you see is him come through the window. Odelayo. It's Dennis Doyle from downstairs. Dennis Doyle from downstairs is dead. It's beautiful. It's brilliant, and it's very heartwarming at the end because cliche. He gets her back, and he completes the marathon as well, despite everyone else saying no. But
that's right. Yeah.
I'd recommend it. It's a lovely film. It was a toss-up actually between that one and my last 10th place was a recent musical film called In the Heights, done by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Right.
Lin-Manuel. Whoever. The guy who did Hamilton.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not a new musical, but it's the cast from Hamilton doing this one as a film.
Right.
And I love the music from this one. It's wonderful.
Okay. Nice, man. There's a lot of traffic outside the window. Ignore that, please. Yeah, cool stuff.
So that's my 10th. Who's your 9th?
My 9th is a lovely little Norwegian film called Metalhead. Directed by what's his name? Wagner something. And it's a exploration of grief and how music can be treated as a coping mechanism for hard times. It is also an exploration and a love letter to the metal genre, and how you can really fall down a rabbit hole if you don't ask for help when you're down bad, basically. It's excellent. It's also really depressing, but it's masterfully done. And it's one of the only foreign films that I can suffer subtitles for. I'm dyslexic, so subtitles are my mortal enemy in films. But there are some films out there where subtitles are I can cope with them. This is one of those films. It's just that good. I'd say just watch it. It's a film about metal, but also it's sad, very sad, but it's good. Very good. I like it a lot. Also, shout out to Metal Lords as well, another metal film that's on Netflix. It didn't make any of these lists, but it's really good. Yeah, that's my number 9.
My number 9 is The Hitman's Bodyguard with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. Have you seen this film before?
No, I've not seen this film before.
Okay, so Ryan starts off as a
I think I remember
bodyguard.
it coming out, though.
Yeah, and basically it starts off with him being at the top of his game. He's living his best life, and then the person he's escorting to a plane dies. And then because he's such a high-ranking official, and then he loses a client, he then gets demoted. And he blames his partner, partner in both the sense they work together and they sleep together. He blames her because this is apparently the one time he told anybody who he was guarding. They turn dead, and then suddenly he loses his position, and he blames her because he thinks she's responsible.
Oh dear.
And then you have Samuel L. Jackson, who's playing a convicted... I can't tell if he's an assassin or just a convicted murderer.
Right.
But he's starting off the film from prison. His wife has been in prison in Amsterdam.
Yes.
Or it's where the UN headquarters is based. I don't think it's Amsterdam. It's
right.
Brussels.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And he signs a deal to say that if he takes her crime and punishment, she walks free. And he signs it without any hesitation.
Right.
But then it means that he's got to get to Brussels because he's also going to be speaking out in court against, would you believe, Gary Oldman, who was the main bad guy.
Gary Oldman, he's going to show up a lot, isn't he, in these?
Yeah. And so they have to, of course, guard Samuel L. Jackson, and they send Ryan Reynolds. And they've apparently got a bit of history because Sam Jackson's guy keeps wanting to kill people and Ryan keeps saving them. So they've got a bit of bad blood going on.
Right.
And I have to say, it's one of my favourite film chemistries.
Yes.
In the second film, not as good.
No.
Not really, because it kind of jumped a bit too much on what was making the first film funny, so nothing felt original. But if you just watch the first one by itself, it's wonderful.
Fair enough.
So funny, because Ryan is also playing very by the books. He's got set fast rules. One of my favourites is seat belts and no drinking and that kind of stuff. But then, of course, you got Sam breaking all these rules, and it's wonderful. I love it.
Fair enough. Nice. Sounds fun, to be fair.
I'm not going to spoil too much about it because I want you to watch it.
I like Ryan Reynolds, so and Samuel Jackson, so and Gary Oldman, so I'll probably end up liking it. Yes, that's both our number 9s. Oh, number 8. Have you seen Strangers? Have you seen a film called The Strangers?
The horror film from 2008?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Oh, I love
that film. I was frightened of that one.
I love it. Also, The Strangers, Pray at Night, their sequel that came out like 10 years afterwards. It's not in my honourable mentions. It fucking should be. But no, The Strangers is a bit better just because it's a bit scarier and I like horror films a lot. But the second one is well directed. It's just not very scary in comparison to the first one. But it's amazing. It's a story about a couple that the guy's proposal kind of went badly. She said no, and then they get terrorized by these 3 strangers.
Starts off with the woman first asking, "Is such and such here?" They kind of make up names when they're going around different houses, and she asks if somebody's there. They say no.
Is Tamara here or something? If they say something like that, and it's like, "Are you sure?" And it's like, "Oh, it's so creepy." And then they start breaking their doors down with axes, and then
The one bit that always gets me, there's a shot of Anne Hathaway just standing in the kitchen, and then she's not doing anything, and then you got this guy's got a burlap sack on his head, and it's capped out with this kind of a ghost face.
Oh, it's
and
so creepy.
He's just stood in the doorway at the back.
And you can just see him walk in. So creepy. The bit that always gets me is the bit where the guy literally blasts his friend's head off when he's in the cupboard. Just, he's like, hello, instantly. Oh, yeah, that was... It's a fucking freaky film. Sorry if we spoil any key moments in there, but... And you should expect spoilers if we're talking about movies that we like.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Strangers, I fucking love it. And like I said, the sequel's amazing as well, but it's not as scary. That's why it's not on this list, really. That's all. But yeah. What about you?
My number 8 is Good Will Hunting, starring Matt Damon and Robin Williams.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that one.
Robin Williams is S-tier actor.
Yeah.
He handles comedy and he handles serious things beautifully.
Yeah.
And this film is no exception. Matt Damon stars as this guy who he's a cleaner in a school, but he's seriously smart.
Right.
But he doesn't want to do anything with it because I can't remember if he's afraid or he just doesn't like doing well because he kind of expects the worst things out of it.
Right, yeah.
And so he then intentionally sabotages everything in his life. He sabotages his opportunity to get a degree or to get a prize out of his mathematical knowledge. He sabotages a relationship he has with another student at the school he works at.
Right.
And he sabotages any decency that somebody might hold to him because he's afraid of letting people in. And Robin understands this kind of thing because he himself has gone through trauma and turmoil from losing a partner.
Yeah.
And he's kind of in the mood of a very depressed attitude, and he's also got a bit of grievance with the lecturer who Matt Damon's character is studying with.
Right.
Because supposedly Robin's character's thesis or his ideology was copied and robbed off of by the new lecturer, so he's basically taken away what should have been his, and now he's settling for a counsellor.
Fair enough. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, fun of sorts.
Not the first one
I would
that comes after, but...
This one, it's one of those kind of classics, and
yeah.
There are scenes in there that you've heard
see
of.
it among in lists that also have The Godfather and other high echelon films.
And
definitely.
It's wonderful in the sense that once you get through it, you feel. I don't know if satisfied is the right word for it, but you feel it's like a reward. Getting through to the end. Because most films have that kind of sense when you want your hero to do well or to succeed, but this one is sincerely very powerful.
Fair enough. Alright, so my number 7 we're on now is the single best Christmas movie to ever walk this earth. It's a Wonderful Life is the name of the film. Have you seen it?
No, actually I haven't.
It's a black and white film. If anyone watches that film in colour, you're a poser. I'm sorry, the film needs to be experienced in black and white, the way it was intended. It's amazing. It feels like a Christmas Carol, but more up to date, and also, in my opinion, way more emotional. It is so heart-wrenching to watch, and it's such a guy is down bad. You gotta watch it. I don't want to spoil much, but basically, a guy is down bad. He's ready to kill himself. And then an angel comes down from heaven and basically shows him what life would be like if he wasn't around. To show him, you gotta keep going, mate. Look at the good you're doing. And it's such a depressing film to watch because you see his life go so far down into the depths, and then there's a lovely scene at the end that you just feel so warm inside. It's such a good film.
Sounds a bit similar to Christmas Carol in the sense that it's showing him, what his future's going to be like, or...
Yeah, it's less about the past, present, future, and it's more... Well, it kind of is, actually. It's a bit like Christmas Carol, but like I say, more up to date, but way more emotional than Christmas Carol. There's lots of heart in the film, and you really feel for the guy, and his surrounding family and friends, actually, because you get to know them in the film very, very well, and you get to know his struggle, and it's so well executed, and I love it so much. I really do. But it does need to be experienced in black and white. And it is a Christmas film through and through.
Fair enough.
So
that's given me an idea for another honourable mention to mention later.
Lovely stuff. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is probably my favourite spy film, Kingsman: The Secret Service.
I forgot about that. Fuck.
Taron Egerton, Colin Firth, Mark Strong, all the good names. Sam Jackson back again.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
True, yeah.
And
he's great in that,
this one is basically a spin-off of James Bond, calls out all the niche kind of things, all those
Mission
tropes.
Impossible, all that shit.
Yeah.
It takes the piss out of it, yeah.
And it's
Definitely.
oddly self-aware without being self-aware, in the sense that this ain't that kind of movie, bruv.
True.
And
it's spawned so many memes, like manners maketh the man, yeah. So
oh god, I love that line, manners maketh man.
It's a really good film. Oh god damn it. I think technically speaking the second one is better. I love the choreography in both of them. I think the second one has
scene.
Don't is so fucking excellent.
That is beautiful for a scene.
is.
If you
Both
have a
films are
masterclass in filmography, does that actually come up?
Filmography.
Do you have any of those kind of sorry, side round. Do you have any kind of moments in your lessons where you have an example of filming to go off from?
Unfortunately not. Like, no choreography classes. Not had a single one in all of my years of education in film. Not a single choreography class. That's pretty bleak to think about. Because if you learn that shit, stuff comes out of it, like Kingsman. Cool fight scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the characterizations as well, with Taron being that leading... I mean, is Taron the leading man, or is Colin the leading man in this? It's kind of...
I think it's kind of just a balancing act between the two. I feel like Eggsy is his name, isn't it?
Yeah, Eggsy.
He's kind of the POV character, isn't he? He's kind of like the Harry Potter sort of character, where you're experiencing the world for the first time, just like he is. You're experiencing all the stuff for the first time, like the viewers are.
Yeah.
In that same way, so kind of him, but also Colin Firth is a boss.
Yeah.
So I would believe
Mark
easily.
Hamill as well. He's got a little cameo at the start of the film.
And then what's that fucking Scottish guy? I love him.
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong.
Who plays
amazing.
He plays. He's not Merlin. Is he Merlin?
He's Merlin. I think he is Merlin.
His song, by the way, in the second film, it's one of my favourites.
I know, it's
Country
such a great moment.
But in this one, he's quite funny as well, where he's got that dry humour about him.
I love him.
The parachute scene as well. I like that scene.
That's really good. I like it. I love all the training stuff actually in that film. In the first film, it's so exciting to watch.
That acrobatic scene as well, when Eggsy's leaving his apartment and the guys who Colin Firth just beat up, they're about to ambush him, and he's just leaping over everything. He's swinging around poles over that.
That was
and it's
really good. Yeah, that was really good, to be fair. Kingsman is great. God, I keep forgetting about that film, and then whenever I remember it, I'm like, yeah, that is a great film. But yeah, we're on to number 6 now already, damn. Alright, my number 6 is Get Out.
Ooh!
You've seen Get Out,
Yes,
yeah?
I have.
Oh, it's so good.
The teapot, or teacup.
Teacup, well, yeah, not just that, but much like Dark Knight, but to a lesser degree, I have made many a thesis and essay on this film. A grand total of 2. But, all the same, the undertones of, analysing racism in all its forms in society and in media within this film is it's genuinely... Jordan Peele is a genius when it comes to film. Every single film he's made only 3, but all 3 of them have had a really cool message. This is the best executed one thus far. There is a loud motorcycle outside, but we're going to ignore that. I love the protagonist. I've forgotten his name, but the plot, the symbolism as well with the deer and with fucking just everything, dude.
And I like the idea of the sunken place. It's that kind of idea of it's not really sleep paralysis. It's not being in control of your own body. You're sunken out, and you're still watching it through your eyes. You're still self-aware, but you can't do anything. Yeah, I feel that's a very haunting concept.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's such a good film. It's so good. Shout out to Us as well. Another really good one. Not on any of these lists here for me, at least, but it is amazing. Also, people don't like Nope. What the fuck is wrong with you? in my opinion, Jordan Peele's done 3 for 3. Obviously Nope is the weakest of the 3, but it's still amazing. Like all 3 of them. Like if Get Out is up here, how is Nope ever going to beat it? You know what I mean? And Us is like somewhere in the middle. Like they're all great films. I think Jordan Peele is a master at horror, but also he doesn't just want to make a straight horror film. He wants them to have meaning and purpose to exist beyond just giving the audience a good scare.
Yeah.
You know, and I fucking love that mentality of really making something that means something. But yeah, Get Out. Now. Do it. Fuck off. I'm joking. Alright, what's your number 6?
So for my number 6, this might actually be a controversial choice.
Okay.
It's a fantasy film.
Yeah.
And before I say this one, I do want to say the Lord of the Rings trilogy, a beautiful trilogy.
Don't say it.
You know what it is.
I know what it is.
For me personally, though, if I were to pick something from Middle Earth, I would go through the Desolation of Smaug.
Oh, you didn't even pick the first one. Oh.
So, hear me out.
I would watch Unexpected Journey over that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I like Unexpected Journey, but it takes an hour to
It just feels like okay. We'll get to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We will. Don't you worry. In this video. But the prequels are not it, man.
No. No. I know. So, because Lord of the Rings, you know, it's the stretch, it's the reenactment of the books. You know, it's very detailed, very lengthy, but that's for the adults, isn't it? And so it keeps everything very faithful to the story. Desolation, the Hobbit story, it's only from one book, and it stretches everything out. It makes things a bit more for the kids, doesn't it?
But it doesn't, because in the Hobbit book, you don't have there's no
Legolas, there's no Azog, there's no Sauron.
And the thing is they make it so much less for kids in the adaptation for the prequel. And also, they base 3 films on 1 book. Like, how would they think that was going to work? Also, getting back to my point, Unexpected Journey, though all 3 of the prequels are bad, the only reason Unexpected Journey ranks highly above the other 2 is because it's trying to be a Poundland version of Fellowship of the Ring, and I love that film, and we'll probably talk about it in a bit, but yeah. What is wrong with you?
Well, The Desolation of Smaug, in my opinion, has...
I couldn't sit through that. Is that the second or third one?
The second one.
Oh my god, I hated that one.
Seriously?
I couldn't sit through that one in one sitting.
No?
I had to turn it off and come back to it.
God.
I'm not kidding. The third one was not much better, actually, but you know.
The only 2 films in
sorry if I'm pissing off people,
in either of those 2 trilogies that I could just sit through 100% are Desolation of Smaug or Fellowship of the Ring.
Well, one of those is.
2 Towers. I know Helm's Deep is a wonderful battle.
It is.
But I mean, I can't be asked for the first half of that film.
It's fine though.
It's fine.
Better than anything in the prequels. And I will hold strong to that.
Desolation of Smaug, you know, you start off with a fun bear chase from Beorn. Then you go into Mirkwood with the spiders and everything. Then you got to get out of Thranduil's place. Then you go... Okay, Lake Town is probably the most boring part of that film. But then you get to the Lonely Mountain, Erebor, and Smaug. I love the design of Smaug in this film. I mean, it's one of my favourite dragon concepts. That eye... The detail
I will
in that
admit,
eye.
Smaug is the one crowning achievement in the prequels.
Thanks to Benedict Cumberbatch.
I was going to say, but that's only for one reason.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch. And fully... I mean, you see behind the scenes videos of him fucking dragging his crotch along the ground, acting like a drag. That dude has dedication, and I will have undying respect for that man.
He's kind of like the up-and-coming Andy Serkis of Middle-earth, because he also did The Necromancer as well, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
If you watch Unexpected Journey, he's credited as the Necromancer.
Nice. Okay, well, good on him. I like Benedict Cumberbatch. He's what... I don't know if this is a hot take or not, this might piss off people. Out of everyone who's in Hollywood... He's one of the only people that actually deserves to be there based on pure talent in acting. That's a bold claim, but I'm sticking to it because I don't care what people think. But yeah, we've done our 10 to 6, so we've got our top 5 next, but we're going to go on a commercial break now, and we will come back to you afterwards and talk about final films and also talk about the honourable mentions that we didn't get to. So I will see you after this advert.
And I'll see you as well.
Goodbye. What was that?
I don't know. You know
What was that?
the delay. The break. When please stand by the static. Go to the static. Go to the static.
Hi there. Have you got a problem that you can't fix? Is everything around you just falling down? You got a problem that you can't quite keep it up? You want me to help you fix that?
Yeah, sure. Why not? How much do you want for all of it?
Brace for the future!
Oh, sorry. I thought you were a drug dealer.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I'm not sleeping tonight. Hello, and welcome back from that commercial break. Did you enjoy that advert? I'm sure we will enjoy it when we make it. We are doing this
We
out
already
of
made
order.
it.
Yeah, sure. We'll pretend like we did that in advance. Yeah, sure. Amazon review of the week. Let's do this. You've got one for us this week.
Yes, I do. I do indeed. Do I? I do. I do.
You do.
WMA Blue Amazon Kindle Waterproof Case Cover Protective Bag Pouch.
Wow.
Try saying that when you're smashed.
I'll try. Later. I mean, what? We're going on a night out after this. That's besides the point.
This review was by a guy named Ben. Ben
Hi,
says,
Ben.
got this for the mother-in-law for bath time, hoping it be crap. Her Kindle would slip out and electrocute her. So far, this bloody thing is staying in one piece. Great for waterproof kindling, crap for murder. Well,
That's a 5-star review. That's amazing. Wait, hold on.
from 3rd of July 2015.
Holy crap, that is amazing. Well,
Someone should probably check on this guy's mother-in-law.
oh yeah. She might be having a nice toasty bath.
Crispy.
Alright. Let's go into the top 5 of our lists. So, at the number 5 spot we have, for me, 1917.
Ah, Benny,
Is
coming back
this
to
on
its
your...
return?
Yeah, is it on your list?
Sadly not.
We've not had a single snap so far.
No.
Last time we attempted this podcast topic, spoiler alert, we tried this podcast topic like a year and a bit ago. It didn't work out. We're doing it again. Your list has changed.
Oh,
I just want to quickly say that, but we might snap yet. Who knows? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
1917. I'm going to state the bleeding obvious. It's done in one shot. Not really, but they make it look like that, and it fucking works. I love the concept, but that isn't the only reason. I'm not that shallow. The story's actually pretty gripping, and the cinematography is fucking gorgeous, and just the scenery, it's the pacing. For it being literally one, so you're watching it in real time. There's only, I think, there's like, I think 5 cuts in the whole film that I spotted on first viewing. Obviously on rewatches I've managed to dissect and probably spot most of them, and I think the last count, it was like 16. Maybe 17, 18, I don't know, but those are the ones
That's
that I
pretty
spotted.
impressive for a film over 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't think it's over 2 hours. It might be. I'm not sure, but regardless, it is so good. Like genuinely, cinema is art. This film proves that. I forgot a film. I've got to write it down.
Was it Dunkirk by any chance?
No. Is that on your list?
It's one I'm probably not going to put in my honourable mentions because
Cool.
I remember watching that. I watched that with my granddad. He's a sucker. He was a sucker, bless him, for these kind of things. He loved war films and all that kind of stuff. And the experiences from air, land, and sea, and the different kind of terrains and the struggles that they faced, and how everybody helped with getting the soldiers off the French beaches.
Yeah.
I loved that film. It's not one that I watch too often because
I've never watched Dunkirk, so I can't comment. But
no,
I've heard good things.
it's pretty good. It's got Tom Hardy in it, actually. He's one of the fighter pilots in the air, and
Nice.
I think he crashes because I think he gets captured.
Right, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I feel like war films are always, well, not always, some of them are a bit shit. There are some really good ones out there. Saving Private Ryan, There's one that has... It's about like a tank squad. And
Fury.
That's it.
With
That's a good
Shia
one.
LaBeouf.
And also...
Brad Pitt? No.
No, what's his name? He's Spider-Man. One of the Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire.
No, the other one.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. He's in Fury, right?
I can't tell. I've only seen...
Actually, no, it might not have been. John Berthel's in Fury, though, I think. He's the hothead, I think. I'm not sure, actually. Don't quote me on that. He's in one of the war films. Anyway, yeah, no. But 1917, it's a lot more personal. It's a lot more personal of a war story. Like, yeah, it's great. It's a work of art. It really is. Anyway, what's yours? Which you watch?
My number 5, Good News, is also a war film.
Oh, is it?
Bad news for this guy, it's a Star Wars film.
Okay.
For me...
Oh, God, don't do it.
Oh, please don't tell me you're going to hate this one as well.
What is it? Tell me now.
Episode 3. Revenge of the
Oh,
Sith.
actually, no, that's the best. That's the best of the Star Wars prequels. I'll
Best
give
of the
you that.
prequels,
That-
by far. Has the best fighting
It's better than
sequences.
some of the sequels.
Some of the Fuck off.
Some.
No.
Shut up.
No.
Shut up.
I don't...
No.
I'm not agreeing with this guy.
No.
No.
Okay.
If you take out the fight between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon and Darth Maul, it has all the top fighting scenes in the prequel trilogy. It's got Obi-Wan versus Grievous.
I'd even say
got
it's
Yoda versus
really good
Palpatine.
fighting in Star Wars beyond the prequels. I think Revenge of the Sith, the reason it's better than the other two by far is because the prequel trilogy only exists
To describe
for episode 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And episode 1 kind of could have just not happened.
Yeah.
And episode 2 would have just been build up to episode 3, and maybe episode 2 would have been better if they compressed some of the story and all that. And it's
But then, you only watch episode 3 for 2 reasons. Why did Anakin turn to the dark side? And how did the Jedi stop existing?
But it is still a solid movie. It's just not.
The fight at
best.
the end between Obi-Wan and Anakin,
pretty
it's
good.
one of my top 10 favourite film scenes. For
Oh.
me personally. Because, yes, okay, Phantom Menace is dog shit. And Attack of the Clones is more or less a filler grab.
Yeah.
But also, if you watch the Clone Wars cartoons, mainly the animated ones from 2008 to the ones that ended, I think they ended 2020 on May the 4th.
Right.
They add a lot more dimension to the relationship between the likes of Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, I really suggest that you do.
Okay.
The first series starts off because it's meant to be a kids show, so it
Right.
plays into the whole kind of kid dynamic. But then it ages. The characters age, the themes age, everything grows and matures. And then by the end of it, you have these dilemmas and you have these things, because it's also going to fit in chronologically at the same time as episode 3. And so then, of course, everything kind of kicks off with Order 66. We all know what happened.
We know
there.
the memes.
It's gotten to the point now where it was just exclusive to episode 3.
Yeah.
And then now, everything coming out nowadays, the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian,
Right.
the Obi-Wan Kenobi series,
Yeah.
everything's always got to have an Order 66 moment. It's gotten to the point now where it's less of that dark tragedy of the Star Wars lore, and it's now just
I mean.
a meme, and it's like a point. It's no longer, in Star Wars, the fandom kind of bases the calendar 0 years before the Battle of Yavin and the destruction of the first Death Star. But now everything feels like 0 years since Order 66,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah.
for me personally, I would prefer to keep it to Death of the first Death Star.
Yeah.
But Order 66, Revenge of the Sith, I love that film, and it's one of
It's aight,
for me. It's also a bit of a nostalgia because it was my favourite
It's
film. when I was
just
younger.
interesting. That's fair. If it's nostalgia, that also plays a big part. It's just I can't see anyone's right mind that it would rank above any of the original trilogy. But that's just me, because I think they are just all 3 of those original trilogy films just really good, and the prequels are less good. I'll say that. Anyway, so moving on to number 4 on my list is The World's End. Anyone who knows the first fucking thing about me knows that this film would have made it into this podcast as a topic. I quote this film. I've made skits spoofing this film. I cannot tell you how many times I've sung the song Whiskey Bar out loud as a joke, and ironically and unironically. it's the Cornetto trilogy at its absolute peak, in my opinion. No one else seems to agree with that sentiment except me, but I don't care. It's more special to me that it's mine. Like, no one thinks some people do, but not many people think The World's End is the best Cornetto film. But I do. It's my film. I love The World's End. It's so fun. It is so clever. It is so well made. It's Edgar Wright. It always would be well made if it was him. But yeah. I'm not going to talk about the premise of it. You just got to go watch it if you really are intrigued, and if not, then suck it. Anyway, that's my number 4. How about you?
My number 4 is not necessarily a film like all the other films on these lists so far, but it is a film adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
It's David Tennant's Hamlet from 2009.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm doing a lot more theatre stuff, trying to get back into my Shakespeare things and going into different readings and all that kind of stuff. And I would always turn at some point or another to something that David Tennant has done. He is my inspiration for acting, as it were.
Fair enough.
And of course, when I figured out ages ago that he did a Hamlet film, I had to see it.
Yeah.
And for me personally, my favourite I mean, it could be just because I'm biased to David Tennant, shoot me. But I love the insanity that he has, it because he's a grown man, but he's also a bit kind of childish.
Yeah, a little bit.
I personally would do it differently, but I love watching him be Hamlet.
That's fair.
Because I love the unhingedness. I love that kind of moment where he's kind of twitching between ideas and flickering between motives and everything, and he's unpredictable. Even though everyone knows how Hamlet goes, he makes this character so wired and so kind of right now, what? Yes, this, cool, great. And he's random. He makes it seem very funny. He's quite scary at times as well. And of course, David puts 100% into all of his performing. And
he does in everything, really.
Exactly.
Like, he's just a really good actor. We've got a poster of him literally behind the camera on the wall there, and I just saw it like it's a Doctor Who poster. Anyway, number 4. Number 3, Alien. Ridley Scott. He's one of my favourite directors, and Alien is a film that I watched from a very young. Fun fact: Alien came out after Doctor Who and the Ark in Space. And it's pretty much the same plot. And there's this common joke in the Doctor Who fandom that Ridley Scott stole the script. No, he didn't. He just he wanted to make an alien film called Alien. Doctor Who had a better title. Anyway,
it's a horror movie called Alien. That's really offensive.
How do they keep invading you? But yeah, it's a really good film. Ridley Scott is great. Sigourney Weaver steals the fucking show. It is iconic for a reason. The chest burster scene, bless him, John Hurt.
the crawl space kind of scene as well, with the flame torch.
Yeah, fucking just the end going always makes me jump. It's so good. I love Alien. It is like so good. It's so.
If only John Hurst had a bit longer in the film.
Yeah, I know. True, but it does make for a great moment.
It does.
It makes for. I mean, it's iconic, and he gets that badge of honour, you know. So.
And wasn't it also that the cast didn't know how the alien was coming out?
No. In the scene, they were just fucking doing some dinner scene. The director said, and then suddenly John Hurt gets his cue, goes, and then out comes a tiny little alien, and the actors apparently had no clue that was happening, which makes their reactions very real. It's just amazing. I love that. But yeah, I think that's all I love. No, shout out to Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant is a film that I will not hear bad about. Alien Covenant is great. Best prequel, sequel, Alien film ever. It's really good. It almost replaced Alien in this video, but Alien is more classic. But yeah, that's it. How about you? What's your number 3?
My number 3, keeping in with the kind of horror thriller style, is something that we actually spoke about with regards to our other topics.
Yes.
It's The Woman in Black.
Oh!
With Daniel Radcliffe, 2012.
Fair enough.
Straight out of, his time doing Harry Potter, you think this is such a dart from his usual character that he spent about 10 years being. you know, you don't really know if he's going to do it that well. I think he does pull it off really well. I mean, Arthur Kidd doesn't really need a lot of, you know, screaming and doesn't have to act out a lot. You know, it's 1800s, you know, Victorian times. He has to be very kind of reserved, refined, and all that kind of stuff. But just the set of Ilmarsh House.
Oh, so good.
Menacing. It's
the bog surrounding it during the day. You know,
the place lives, and it's not that kind of place that jumps out at you. No. I mean, you got the pipe that pops. You got the crows.
Oh, there's quite a few jump scares, but they also. It's a film that does that, but also manages to make your skin crawl a bit.
Yeah.
There are some bits like when he's walking up to the house and you see her in the window. Oh. I saw this film recently, so I've got like very recent memories of it, but. The one bit at the end that used to scare me a lot that doesn't anymore was basically her on a Segway as she goes towards him. That used to scare the shit out of me. Now I just find it funny because it just looks like she's...
The first time I ever watched that film, I was watching it with my family, and it's near the end, isn't it, when he's put the baby in the bed. And
then you see her in the corner and she goes, and she like hovers over to him like she's on a Segway.
Just before that, he's gone to the doorway and it's the corridor by the stairs, and you see her at the end of the hallway and the lights are starting to go out. And I called it, I said, she's not going to come through the door, is she? She's going to be right behind him.
Yeah.
Then the candle blew out and he's looking there, and of course the camera's panning across the room, and you see that shadow come alive.
Yeah.
But the bit that always gets me, and I don't know why, because I always know it's coming, it's the first time you get that allusion to the woman in black in the background. It's when he's at that pipe, you know, the tap.
Oh yeah, that's really creepy.
The first time we kind of see her
turn her head to look at him.
There's that loud pop.
Yeah.
That gets me.
It's good.
Every time.
It's a good little moment, to be honest. Yeah.
But it's just the part where, you know, you start wanting to look out for the woman in black everywhere you look.
Yeah.
It keeps you on edge.
It does. It's really good.
The house itself is that kind of thing where you know it's just going to be disastrous.
Oh yeah.
The kids' deaths as well, they're very kind of gruesome.
They're gruesome. Oh yeah, the one
lie.
I was about to say when the girl drinks fucking bleach. I'm like, oh my god.
Then the second girl with the candle.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
The most haunting one was surprisingly, it was well directed. It's the first ever scene where the three girls just kind of jump out the window together. It's really creepy. Like they play it with the music all muted, and it's just the music playing. All the sounds are gone, and you just hear the scream of the mother. Going,
I like the idea as well.
It's really haunting.
With the talk of, because you got Arthur talking about, you know, he believes in the afterlife. He believes that his wife's still trying to reach out to him.
Yeah.
And then you have, what's his name again? The other man. It's not Daniel.
Daly. Arthur Daly. No, not Arthur Daly. It's Mr. Daly. I don't know what his first name is.
But because he lost his son. His wife never really got over it. The scenes where she's kind of talking with the son speaking through her. I like that kind of scene with.
I like that.
Makes us do it.
Yeah.
That seems quite good.
It's creepy.
But I like the dynamic where he's thinking there's nothing after life. There's nothing to wait for. There's no spirits. There's no ghosts. It's not real. And I like I like it that you can't really tell if he's doing it because he's in denial or because he's just doing it to. You know, because that's.
Because he doesn't want to believe that. Well, I mean, I don't know what he wants to believe, but you know,
he wants to know that his son is, you know, peace.
Resting,
And he can't really believe that if he's also believing that the woman is taking kids as well.
Yeah, that's right.
That last shot, though, the last shot where it's at the train station, I'm not spoiling what happens there if you haven't seen it, but there's a moment where Daly is, the train has slowed down, and he's looking through the window, and it's all the kids, and it pans back to him, and then it pans to the woman standing through the windows.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. I like that shot.
That's a good shot, yeah. It's a solid film. It's well made, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, continuing the theme of horror, my number 2 is The Shining. Stanley Kubrick is a perfectionist, almost to a fault, but it means this film is literally spotless. You can't find a single speck wrong with this film. You pause this film anywhere, and it is a perfect portrait. It is a perfectly framed piece of art, every single frame. If you pause the film anywhere to go take a shit, you come back, and it's paused on a really well composed shot, really good lighting, colour. It's art. This film is so good. The acting as Jack Nicholson is great. I can't remember the actress of Wendy, but she is sublime in this film. But when
Sherry Duvall?
Might have been. But when you hear stories about how Stanley Kubrick would terrorise her behind the scenes to get her in the tortured mind of her character, you feel like maybe you didn't have to go that hard on her. I know she got a good performance, but maybe she could have done that without your bullying, Stanley Kubrick. But with all that aside, it is still an amazing film. Yeah, it is still one of the best films ever, and I love it to pieces. The actual hotel, the Overlook Hotel, is its own character. It's a looming threat whenever it's portrayed. You see it looking menacing, the music blaring with the brass and all that stuff, and the hedge maze and the chase scenes and the act. And the thing is that people find The Shining boring in the same vein, or people who don't get it, in the same vein as horror films like Hereditary. They feel like nothing happens until the final act.
No.
And yeah, sure, you're going to think that if you watch it on first viewing and you're not in the mindset to really experience everything that's going on. But there is a lot that happens, and I love it. Shout out to Hereditary. It's not in this video either, but I wanted to talk. It's a good horror. It's a really good horror. But The Shining is a better horror. It is really, really good. I love it, and it was one point my number one, but this number one that's coming up in a sec overtook it recently. Well, not recently, a little while ago, but anyway.
Fair enough.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is another horror, but it's probably not one that you've seen before. I might have mentioned it before.
Okay.
It's a film called Hangman.
I've not seen it.
So Hangman is a POV style film, and you think, first person, you think Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield, it's probably done. How can you do it any better? Hangman follows. It's an American-based film. Yeah. Most of them are, and it follows what you expect to be a frogger.
Okay.
And a frogger is basically a homeless person or someone who does have a home, and they suddenly just decide, I don't want to pay for my own things, I don't want to just get a house, I don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. They get a thrill out of sneaking or breaking into someone else's house, not for the sake of robbing, well, in a sense robbing, but not robbing valuables and money, just not hurting, living off of their stuff for a short while. And if they feel like they're about to be found out, or if they are found out, they leave. Right. They don't really want to cause a fuss. No. They don't threaten anybody. It's just it's kind of like hide and seek.
Right.
And, the longer you stay hidden, the better.
Yeah. Oh.
It starts off with the POV of this guy. He's in a car park at an airport or someplace where people leave their cars to go on holiday. Yeah. And he targets families with smart cars because it has a GPS. Oh. And he breaks into the car quite silently and he looks for their home address. He takes his own car to drive to their home address, and he sets it up as if the house has been robbed, when it hasn't. Right. Because what he's done is he's taken the valuables, he's put them in the cupboard, and so he scatters a few things around the house as well. He doesn't actually break anything, but he makes it look like there was a break-in. And so when the family come back, they think everything was broken into, and so they don't really seem to assume everything else is fine there. Yeah. So he makes his way up to the attic, which is actually a doorway in the parents' walk-in wardrobe. Right. And this is where he sets up shop. The family come back in. He's got cameras in everybody's rooms. It's a mother and a father, a teenage daughter, and a tween boy. As well. That's so weird. The boy is set up to have. He's set up as a character who has night terrors, and he's making up a few fable stories. Teenage girls, you know what they're like, sneaking out of the house because they got a boyfriend to go see, all that kind of stuff. But what makes this film so frightening for me, there's no massive jump scares, there's no threatening movie sound score, there's no kind of I need to be frightening because I'm a monster. No. It's literally a guy in a mask, and he is the most confidently frightening person I met. There's 2 scenes in particular that really get to me. Yeah. One of them is he's in the daughter's room and he's literally stood halfway behind the door. He's not covered up by any coat, he's not making any attempt apart from standing behind the door to hide. But he's so confident because he knows the girl's coming in for her phone, and when she turns around to get back to the door, she's not looking up, she's looking at her phone. Doesn't even notice him.
Goodness.
You're waiting for him to be caught, and he never gets caught. No. Then the second one, there's a house party. There's a family party. No, it's a parent party. There's adults in the kitchen, in the living room. Yeah, like a gathering or whatever. A gathering of sorts. The whole the downstairs of the house is lit up like a fire, and he's just casually walking into the kitchen. He stays there. It's got like a timer in the bottom of the corner. He's in there for a full half hour. Oh my! He's just stood there by the fridge, not doing anything, and he's just not doing anything. You know, anybody could just walk in at any point, any time. He's taking the orange juice out from the fridge. He sets up this kind of like affair between the parents because he's causing drama for them.
Okay.
He's stalking the daughter and her boyfriend.
Oh, damn.
And
So
it's
creepy.
yeah. I mean, the reason why this one kept me up at night, and no
Because it's a
film,
very real thing, isn't it? That.
yeah, no film has fully kept me up at night the same extent as this. That's why this is my favourite horror film.
Fair enough.
But it's most frightening for me because in my room back home, I have this Coraline cupboard, I call it. It's like this little door at the bottom of my bed, which leads to a crawl space next to the wall of my room, and it frightened me that night to think, has somebody actually managed to get themselves into that crawl space?
Like a squatter or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
Exactly, and
That's
so
horrid.
and it was only me and my mum in the house that night.
Ah!
I didn't want to take the risk. I just stayed up.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
mad. That's crazy.
when a film has that kind of, I doubt it'll have the same effect on me if I watched it again tonight.
No.
But because of how powerful and how effective it was the first time, I've got it as my top horror film.
Yeah. Alright, and now my number one. It's Whiplash. Have you seen Whiplash?
I have seen Whiplash.
I love
I was
Whiplash.
tempted to put this on my honourable mentions list.
Right, yeah. It's so fucking good.
Russian or Dragon, it's classy scene.
Yeah. Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. Power duo. They are amazing talent. Miles Teller just doesn't get good scripts, except for this one. J.K. Simmons obviously steals the show because it's J.K. Simmons, but Miles Teller is a low-key genius at acting. I could see you adding another honorable mention there. I love this film. It is my favourite. I watched it way later than I should have. I should have watched it as soon as it came out, but I didn't, stupidly. Basically, mild spoilers. I show anyone Whiplash just to see their reaction for the car crash.
Oh.
Well, not just for that, but it's like it's like a big thing, you know. And then also the Not My Tempo scene where he just chucks a fucking chair and.
I like the bit before that when he's
so good.
when he's, you know, he hears this guy's so tuned with, you know, that pitching that he hears someone else who's out of tune, and he just picks on someone else who's not even the guy he knows is out of tune.
Yeah.
But he's because he sees the nervousness on him, and he just rattles him to the point where he can kick him out.
Yeah.
And then he just turns to the guy next to him. I know that was you, but that could have been you. So do better.
Damn. Yeah, I know. It's so crazy. Fletcher is like the most complex and well-written character I've ever seen in cinema. And the thing is, it's a drumming movie, and yet it feels like the most tense thing in the world. You are biting your nails throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's not a horror. It's not a thriller. It's a music drama. It's a drumming movie. It's a jazz drumming movie. I can't put into words how much genius went into this film.
And that last
making
drumming
it.
scene is what. There's not really much.
Damien Chazelle, I think, was the director.
It's not
of
like
this.
there's not a backtrack to it, is there? It's literally just him with the drums, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh god. And the final scene.
Yeah.
It goes on for like fucking 10 minutes, and I don't want it to end. It's so fucking good. Like, it's just such. I think it's such attention to detail. It would put Edgar Wright to shame. Like, the final scene alone, there are so many, like, quick cuts, like, for half a second where you see it and you know immediately what's happening. Like, when he's drumming, for example, and you see a microsecond of, like, blood dripping off the cymbal, and then it cuts back to him doing other shit, and it's like... This film moves. You know, it's just... I just love it so much.
Keeps you in
I
pace
love
with
it
the
so
drumming itself. It's like you're playing the instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this... Basically, this film... in more than any other, like, exemplates how important audio is to cinema and how much of an important component that is to making a film great. Visuals are cool. You want to do a good dolly shot, cool. You want to do a cool establishing, zoom, whatever, great. But your film's crap if it's got crap audio. Case in point. But this film just doesn't just do good audio, it does the best fucking musicscapes and manages to build tension with sometimes having scenes where there's no music. It's just the drumming that what's the guy's name? The Miles Teller plays. I don't know his name, but whatever. Miles Teller. When he's drumming, sometimes you have scenes where it's just no music. It's just this. It's just the scene playing in real time, and it's still so tense because of how well directed that shit is.
The Not My Tempo has no music in it,
No,
except for
it's
when the band's
just-
playing.
It's just, and then when they have the 3 drummers alternating, it's a similar thing. Like, it's such a good film. Watch it. If you haven't watched it, what are you doing with your life? It's so good. Anyway, what's your number one?
My number one has actually changed a little. I think I told you it was another film.
Okay.
It's a Cornetto trilogy film.
Yes.
And it used to be that my favourite in the trilogy was Hot Fuzz because I love the twist.
Yes.
But I think now my favourite and my number one is The World's End.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey!
I love the subliminal...
Hey!
I love the
Don't leave me
messaging.
hanging.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. Yeah.
I love how the play
What a good film.
pans out. I love the plot, the characters, they work well together despite the
There's
fact they shouldn't work
parallels
well
to the
together.
flashback at the start, and there's the music design. Case in
Yeah.
point, again, the soundtrack and the acting and the humour and the...
Gary King is, for me, one of my favourite film characters.
Yes.
I love the way that he has been written. I love the journey that he has. I love how
too.
Simon portrays him, that kind of the sadness being overtaken by this facade of excitement
and childishness, and really it's just depression and... it's so
And
good!
it hit me more because for a while I didn't actually understand that struggle at the end when he and Andy are fighting in The World's End, and then he lowers his sleeves, and because it's in the middle of the screen, you just notice the tag, so I assumed just gone to that the clinic, but then I see the bandages underneath and it hits harder.
It makes it so much more real, and it's struggle. It's so... What a layered character. What great writing.
Because it's tragic how, people will have that kind of phase in their teen lives where they think they're unbeatable, everything they can do,
and he wants to
all the time
and he wants to recapture that the good times.
It's like being on drugs without actually being on drugs, in a sense where you want that high. There's nothing else you want, just that perfection, and then you spend so much time fixed on it that nothing happens. Exactly. He's wasted his life. Everyone else has done their own thing.
God, exactly. So good.
I love as well that kind of touch with social media and everything else, the internet, all that kind of stuff.
It's a lot of moving parts in that film, and it any other director, it would feel like a cluttered mess.
Yeah.
Where it's unfocused, but at the core of it is Gary
and the friends.
Well, no, it's mostly Gary, but you also get them there as well. But it's his story.
Yeah,
that's what's so important here, and it's not a story. It's not a story of getting the girl, because obviously Sam ends up with Stephen, which is like I say, that's good. It's subverting expectations. I fucking love that shit, and also because it's unrealistic. Also, like I say, each pub progresses. And also, each pub name is relating to each stage in the story in this case. And that's genius. I won't spell it out to you. I'm going to do an entire fucking video talking about this film because I've been meaning to for a while. First post, the old familiar, the famous cock, the cross hands, the good companions, the trusty seven, the two-headed dog, the mermaid, the beehive, the king's head, the hole in the wall, all before reaching that last bit of sweet pint in that most fabled terminus, the world's end. Leave a light on, good lady, for we will return with the twinkle in our eyes, but we will in truth be blind. Drunk! I'm obsessed with this film.
This film is...
I know this film off by heart. This was, for the longest time, my favourite film. And then The Shining overtook it, and then Whiplash is where it stands now. But this film is still in my veins. But yeah. Right, honourable mentions. We're going to do one-word sentences for every honourable mention that we have here. Otherwise, we will be here forever. I'm going to go first because I have way more. Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, and also the downside of society and all that shit and lower classes. It's really good commentary. Watch it. It's a really, really clever superhero film, if you want to call it that. Not really. How about you? Pick one.
American Sniper. True story based on a guy who he's got one of the greatest kill counts.
One sentence.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the highest kill counts for a sniper, and is retelling his story. It's incredibly intense and really gripping.
Nice. All right. Cool. Next one. Toy Story. I didn't pick a Toy Story. It's just Toy Story. Because all four of them are great. Yes, all four of them. The fact they're making a fifth is kind of strange, but all four of them are great. Next.
Smile. Current horror film where smiles are the most frightening thing in the world.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right. Nightmare on Elm Street. It's iconic. Everyone knows Freddy Krueger. It's It's great. The death scenes are iconic. Even the one where that fucking guy gets strangled by a bed sheet. The blood spurting out of the bed as well, and also the girl that gets crawled up on the ceiling and gets slashed. It's iconic for a reason. Watch it.
Only the Brave, a Miles Teller script which actually is fucking brilliant.
Nice. Right. The Lighthouse. It's film art. It's art house film. Also, like I say, Robert Pattinson is fucking killing it, and so is... What's his name? Green Goblin.
Oh, Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Those two actors fucking steal the show. They are amazing. It's an amazing film. I love it to pieces. I love films that make me think. That film makes me think.
096, A Slight Cheat. It's a YouTube film based on creepypastas and SCPs. The creature in that is fantastic and frightening, and I love it.
Alright. Snatch. Go watch Snatch. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. You just have to watch it. I'm not going to... It's better if you know nothing. It's a comedy. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's fucking great. It's directed great. That's what I'm saying.
Kung Fu Panda 2. Gary Oldman puts in another performance as a top tier villain. Peacock galore.
A Street Cat Named Bob. It's based on true events. And it's events that make me cry when I watched it first time in the cinema.
Bless you. In the Heights, the musical again I mentioned before. It wasn't on my list before. Still in my honourable mentions. Beautiful music.
Shaun of the Dead. It speaks for itself. Zombie movie. Edited by Edgar Wright and directed by him, I guess. It's great.
Deadpool, the only superhero film on my list. Ryan Reynolds just steals the show.
Shout out to the second one. Because that's great too. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's my favourite one. People can shut the fuck up. Prisoner of Azkaban is not the best one. I mean, objectively speaking, it actually is. But Goblet of Fire is my personal favourite because of childhood nostalgia and shit like that. Anyway.
And my last one on here, Dinner for One.
Oh my god, I have so many more than you.
Dinner for One is a 20-minute short film. It was made in English, but it's actually very popular in Germany, I figured out through my girlfriend.
Oh, damn.
And it's hilarious.
Alright, I'm going to rattle off the rest of these as fast as I can. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It's great, everyone knows that it's great. You want to sum it up for me? Because you've watched it, you like it?
Yeah, monkeys fighting each other. One thinks humans should die, one thinks humans should live. Who's right, who's wrong?
Cobra's an amazing villain. Fellowship of the Ring, we've talked about it already. It's amazing. And what story time, real quick. First time I watched this was on one of those shitty, tiny screens, I think I told you about this, on an aeroplane.
That was the first time you watched it?
On one of those shitty fucking screens, and I loved it. The fact that this film gripped me on that shitty tiny screen on the back of someone's chair that they were fucking rattling and moving about, and yet I loved it, shows just how good the film is, that despite those problems, that's how it went. And immediately after I got off that flight, I went and rewatched it again. And then Two Towers, and then Return of the King. I watched this film way too late. I watched it in 2019. Fucking ridiculous that it took me this long to watch it, but it's so good. Also, The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. It's great. Everyone knows it's great. The practical effects of the body horror is fucking excellent, and the guessing of who is the monster, who isn't, is fucking nail biting. The Batman, I already spoke about The Batman, I'm not going to talk about it again, but it is great. Narrowly didn't make it on the list just because The Dark Knight has aged like fine wine. Hot Fuzz, we've talked about Hot Fuzz already. The ending is fucking great. The entire thing is great. It's an Edgar Wright film. What do you fucking expect? Last Night in Soho, another Edgar Wright film that I fucking love. Underrated. People say it's his least popular, least best one, but I don't know, I love it. And also Baby Driver. You know Baby Driver. I'm not going to explain Baby Driver to you. Fox and the Hound. Childhood nostalgia, emotional ending. It's friendship. It's a story of friendship. It's great.
Can I throw in a quick one as well then?
Yeah.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. The animation.
I forgot that fucking film! That would have been in my fucking top 10 if I remembered. It's shit! Oh, I love it so much.
George Clooney does pretty well as a main character.
He does so good.
He's just
direction.
different.
Oh, you killed it. I could never top that. Alright, so good. Anyway, what's next? 10 Cloverfield Lane. Much like Whiplash, except it's more understandable for this one. It builds tension so fucking well. And what's that guy's name who plays Sully? Because he's the fat guy in
John
this.
Goodman.
John Goodman. He's amazing. He's such a fucking talent in this film, especially. So good. Bullet Train, literally watched it a month ago. Really surprised me.
That's the one with Brad Pitt
Really
in it,
fun,
isn't it?
yeah. Really fun. A really fun movie, and it's directed really well. Okay? Not overhyped. Underhyped, in my opinion. And I have two more that are very left field and very... they're wild. They're oddballs, they are. One of them is called Skinamarink. It's the creepiest film I've ever seen. It's the film that scared me the most. Ever. I watched it literally, I think it was really recently. I don't know how recently it was, but that film made my skin crawl. And it's not by the way you expect. It's not traditional horror.
Is it the stop animation one?
It's like analog horror. No, it's not stop animation. But it is analog horror. It's found footage, but it's not even quite that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that film is, and it creeps me out every time. I've only watched it 3 times because it's very recent that I watched it, but I'm so hooked. I need to understand this film. It's an enigma to me. And then the last one, I'm going to count this as a film. I literally added this last minute when you were talking about, oh, can I add web internet series films? And so, In Space with Markiplier. Markiplier is an inspiration to me. He is one of my idols. In Space with Markiplier came out the day after my birthday last year, which is great. That's all I have to say about it. It's amazing. Go check out In Space with Markiplier. It's free. Anyway, that's it.
I'd also put on this one Onward. You showed me that film.
Yeah, that's
it was
good.
2021, wasn't it? That I came to watch it.
Yeah. You came over and went to sleep.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, Chris Pratt, Tom Holland.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid cast and it's fun. It's a good feel-good movie, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are our favourite films of all time. There are probably some that I'm missing. There are most definitely some that I'm missing. Spider-Man 2, also Into the Spider-Verse. I think that's it. There are probably more that I'm forgetting, but it's very good guess. Yeah, that's it. Actually, Dalek Invasion of 2150 AD, the one that was starring Peter Cushing, that's a really, really good movie. Genuinely, not just because it's Doctor Who. Really good, well-made movie. Anyway, that's it. We're done. We're done talking about our favourite films. Do you enjoy it? Fucking better. Why are you still watching this podcast if you didn't?
Let us know in the comments what your favourite film was.
Yeah.
And first comment, get a free chocolate bar.
Do they?
Well, I can throw it at them if they want to.
Alright, if that's you're offering up yourself to do that service, that's great. I don't have to worry about anything. If you don't get a chocolate bar for being the best comment, blame him. But we will read your comments about your favourite movies. I'm very intrigued to see what people's opinions are on them. And also, what do you think of our lists? What about the films we talked about? Is there anything we missed out? Any hot takes that you didn't like the idea of? Like some prequel films that shouldn't have been in there? Who knows? Let's end it off here.
Yeah.
Bye everyone.
Bye everyone.
Hope you enjoyed. See you later. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you Skinamarink. That is a really, really creepy film. It's genuinely like...
The prequel films were good.
No, they're not. Shut up.
They were
Well, Revenge of the Sith is at least passable.
Possible, Miles.
No. I won't pass. I'm not going to end the sentence.